G'day jabronis, it is the Verd here. I've just come back from vacation and people are asleep, but I need to get this video up against Danza for week 5 of the NPL. Just being quiet right now, like I said, people are sleeping, so I'm going to try and just be quick and sharp because I actually recorded the battle side of things where I'm a lot louder, but I forgot to do a team builder. So this is basically breaking down the team that I brought because I think the NPL now prefer you mentioning the shit that you bring.
That I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know.
But whatever. So Danza's got a Danza prepping for this game was freaking ridiculous. Danza's team was incredibly good, and he is a very good player. He's played a very good season so far. And prepping for it initially, I was just thinking way too defensively about it, and I thought, you know what, stuff it. From now on, we're just going to be a bit more aggressive. Think about it more that way in this matchup, and once I started doing that, everything kind of fell into place a bit better. So first off was this Ferrothorn. Main premise of the Ferrothorn was to deal with the Gyarados. Obviously Gyarados, knowing Danza, could run Fire Blast, so just in case, it wasn't just for the Gyarados, the Occa Berry. With the investment I had, I could take a non-boosting Jolly-Teeny V-Create. I could also take non-boosting blue flares if he's like the bulky teeny set, and I just take hits from like everything on his team. This is a very utility Ferrothorn, more designed really to just get up hazards, be able to soak up a hit because of the fact that it had the Occa Berry, and potentially like Gyro and just weaken a lot of members of his team. Knockoff's really crucial as it hits Teeny for an absolute ton and is just generally really strong against him. It's also really smart with the Occa Berry for the potential for HP Fire Sylveon, because they can bring HP Fire or HP Rock, I feel, in this matchup. When it comes to the other defensive mon to pair it with, I decided to go with a definite Necrozma. Just realistically, it just comes in and tanks hits. It's kind of a Mammoth check, not really. Don't really have a Mammoth check on my team, but I wanted to run this kind of variant because I was finding in a lot of my prep that I would run, say, something like Dark Pulse, and then I'd lose to Gyarados and then run something stupid like Z Solar Beam, and then if he doesn't bring Gyarados, it's such a waste. So I decided to go with Toxic in the end, because if he brings Gyarados or if he doesn't bring Gyarados, it's always going to be a solid move to have, and his only resist to Psychic is Victini, and technically Gyarados, both of which can just poison and wear down because I have checks to each of them. Helio is the designated lead in the matchup. I'm running a Scarf, sorry not Scarf, a Sash. Reason being is because it allows me to scout for what Tornado set that I'm dealing with. It also means that if Danza leads with a Sash Mamoswine, I can go for the combination of Grass Knot into Quick Attack, and Mamoswine, with its priority and everything else, a huge threat to my team, is basically immediately disposed of. Victini, if it tries to go for, say, like a V-Create turn 1 to knock me out, I can just soak that up and go for a Volt Switch, get off a huge amount of damage on Teeny. Overall, just a really, really solid lead against this team, and the Quick Attack, like I said, is really important to pick off a lot of his mons that would normally live on a Sash. The same goes for things like the Landorus. If it's a Scarf Lando going for Earth Power, I can obviously live that, go for HP Ice, and then Quick Attack will knock it out too. So overall, just a really solid lead set there. Hydra, just a standard, well, it's not really a standard Scarf, it's a very bulky set. Kind of, I wanted to design this Hydra more that the offensive Hydra wasn't really putting that much work in. I found that Hydra wasn't really needed for a damage output. It was more needed because it could outspeed a lot of Danza's mons. And then I just liked that 3-move coverage. I initially did have Head Smash on there because it covered a lot of mons, and it would have been sick to be able to just go straight for a Scarfed Head Smash and knock out Torn, but decided against it. Felt the bulk was a bit better to kind of scout the Teeny set, scout a lot of other sets on his team, and overall just put in work. It also allows me to take a kit if I need to from the Gyarados, so overall pretty straightforward. And then the speed was creeping, I believe, Jolly Gyarados at a +1, something like that. It was creeping something in particular. Oh no, it was sorry, I do make a mistake. I think it's creeping not Jolteon that he has, but it's a very fast mon. I think he hits 130. And that's what this set's creeping. I'm pretty confident. I can't remember exactly what the Hydreigon was creeping because it's been quite a while ago this battle's happened. It's quite late at night. But with 316 speed, I think I think it's creeping something that I predict him to creep. Something like that. I think that he's going to try and creep something with Victini, so I'm kind of creeping around that. I don't know. That's kind of the plan. But Talonflame, pretty straightforward set. Again, quick attack, because if Helio's bringing things down their sashes or things are getting weakened, then Flame can just pick them off really easily. Initially was banded, but preferred Sharp Beak for the variety of moves I could go for. Also felt like there was a chance of Intimidate Gara being a pretty good flame check in this matchup, but yeah, really solid set. In hindsight, potentially quick attack could have been dropped for maybe Tailwind or something else, but yeah, each to their own. Bird Spam's just really good right now in the NPL and just in draft format in general. A lot of people aren't really prepping around it, which is very surprising, but it's been putting in a lot of work. And then finally, this Goat Diancie set that I came up with. Basically, the premise is that I feel if he's going to bring a Diancie check, it's going to be a Sylveon, like a fat Fizz Def set. Like I say, he's probably going to run HP Fire or HP Rock to deal with the Ferrothorn. So I decided to design a set to capitalize on this. Now this set, granted, has two main drawbacks. The first one being obviously that Cobalion is a huge issue, but with Necrozma, Talonflame, stuff like that on the team, trying to get rid of it early doors, open the door up for Diancie. And the second one obviously is that Diamond Storm only has 8 PP, but at the same time, if I get enough Sharpen boosts and everything else, so the basic premise for those who might be a bit confused by the sets, obviously Rock Polish boosts speed, Sharpen boosts attack by Sage, and Skill Swap is designed here to trade my Magic Bounce for Sylveon's Pixelate. And the reason for that is because then Sylveon's Hyper Voice becomes a normal type attack, and because I have very thick, especially defensive stats and the special defense investment, it means the Hyper Voice is going to do like 11% each time. So I can like Rock Polish as it comes in, Skill Swap as it goes for Hyper Voice, and then Sharpen on the switch out. So then I'm at +2 speed, +1 attack, and I can just start destroying everything. So yeah, should be a fun set if it works on the Goat, but if it doesn't, then it's just another Verd set down the drain. But I thought it could be a really cool set to bring against him. Hopefully it works out, and we'll jump into a more upbeat Bird now in the Verd now in the battle. Apologies for this being kind of low quality, but hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Next one out!
Yeah, jabronis, it is the Verd, back with you again. Welcome here to our week 5 game, halfway through the season. Wild. For the NPL, Tampa Frogadiers up against the Los Angeles Nidokings, coached by Danza or Crobat for the win. Pretty hype matchup. Danza's been playing out of his skin this season, and we didn't get off to the best start. We bounced back from an 0-2 to now a 2-2, and we are sitting in positive differential, which is kind of weird. And this is a big game because we either continue our positive comeback for the season, or it is derailed by Danza. This is a really tough game to prep for sure. If I hopefully have put the team builder before this one. But yeah, heading into it, I was pretty scared, not gonna lie. But then when I saw a matchup, I saw no Cobalion, and seeing no Cobalion meant that my Diancie set was it had potential to put in work. Not seeing Gyarados is also good because my checks to it weren't exactly ideal. I was very surprised to see Rotom and the Ariados. Everything else was kind of expected. I figured Landorus would be there because Landorus is just such a huge threat to my team, and it wasn't as if I had the best priority to deal with it. And I also felt maybe that Cobalion could have been there, or there were so many other mons I felt that were really threatening on Danza's team that could have been there, but none of them came, so I felt very fortunate for that. But yeah, he has a very scary team. I was feeling alright though. Heading into the matchup, I was feeling okay because I knew one thing I was afraid of though was the potential for lead Ariados. So I was kind of contemplating how am I going to play if he has lead Ariados? And I remember that my Diancie does have a lot of speed investment. It's designed to actually outspeed Landorus, which means even if he gets up webs, if I go for a Rock Polish, the only thing on his team that's going to be able to outspeed me is a Scarf Tornadus. So if I can just ascertain that he's not a Scarf Tornadus, we should be fine. Diancie can just set up webs, won't be a big deal. So my plan then was to still leave my Helio and go for my Volt Switch to scout the damage on Ariados, and then maybe go into Diancie or Talonflame or something to kind of put a lot of pressure on his team, because obviously T-Flame, with the fact that there's no Intimidate Gyarados, has just a phenomenal matchup here, can start picking things off by itself. Pardon me. So, it's going to be an interesting one. I am going to jump into this game though. So I am leading off with my Helio.
Down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Helio's off with Rotom. So, I had a feeling he might be Scarf Rotom in this matchup. I didn't really want to burn my Focus Sash this early. However, knowing that he was Scarf was really, really good information for the long run. So I wanted to click Volt Switch here to see like where he would go with his play. So it turns out he isn't Scarf. So that's good information to know. I go straight into my Hydreigon as he goes Volt Switch. The reason I went Hydra on that play was because I felt that he was either going to go for Leaf Storm, or maybe he would go for the Predict of HP Fire, knowing my Ferrothorn might want to come in. Or if he did go for the Volt Switch, it's just a really safe play for me. I figured if he's going to go into anything against the Hydreigon, it's most likely going to be his Sylveon, which is exactly what he does. I'm going to drop a U-turn, and then I'm going to go out into my Ferrothorn, as he's going to Hyper Voice, and that does a decent. It's a bulky Sylveon from that spread. Not doing that much damage at all, and I see this as my perfect opportunity to get up my rocks. His two defoggers are his Rotom and his Tornadus. In hindsight, maybe Knockoff was a better play here. I don't feel like Sylveon was going to stay in, and if Victini came in, then being able to knock that thing off would have been huge. But I do decide just to go for my rocks on this turn. Now, at this point, I knew he could potentially defog, but at the same time, with the range of health Ferrothorn's out, I knew I could come back in and set these up again. So I wanted to try and take advantage of the fact that he's probably just going to try and either defog or HP Fire. And either way, Hydreigon can come in, because like I did in my games before, I can just kind of pivot really nicely around Danz's team too. And I'm in a situation here where I can get up my rocks again. And I believe it's on this turn where I predict him to go for the defog, and I actually go for the knockoff to get rid of
Surprise,
his Ockerberry.
motherfucker.
Now the Ockerberry, I assume, was for the Talonflame, which is a really nice bring on Danz's part, but unfortunately is not really going to help it now in the long run. Plus, I'm pretty sure Rotom's already in range of Sharp Beak Brave Bird. On this turn, I feel like, judging on the way that he's played his Rotom, I don't think he has HP Fire, because, I mean, if I had Rotom, I probably would have clicked it by now. So, I'm going to stay in again and click Rocks like an absolute madman, as he's going to go out to his Victini. I could have gone for a second knock, but I wasn't real enough. I'm going to go hard Hydreigon as he reveals the Glaciate, so a really nice play from there. And from that damage, although I am Scarfed, if he's a max speed Victini or he's designed it to outspeed like Scarfed Hydreigon, then I'm in a bit of a pickle here. So what I do is actually predict him to want to go for another Glaciate, and I go hard out to my Necrozma, and I can eat that up. But he actually goes for U-turn and goes out to his Rotom Mow again, and I was like, okay. I figured on this turn what he was going to try and do was go for just for a defog. So I actually choose to go for Toxic, and I'm looking at the situation here. I think he might go for a Pain Split. So I actually choose this turn to go for a Calm Mind, as he goes straight out to his Taunt, and I can just get up my Calm Mind, and I'm sitting in a pretty good spot, because, like I was saying, he's just clicked U-turn, but, like I was saying, in this situation for Danza, if he has Z Hurricane, my Necrozma is fat enough now because of the Calm Mind to be able to live it, and if it's Z Fly or something, then he's wasted the Z move. And like I said, because that means that he's not Scarfed, it opens the door for Diancie to be able to sweep in this matchup. And because my Necrozma is so physically defensive, I again had a chance to maybe take that as well. So my safest play was Moonlight. If he went for Taunt, it didn't really matter in the long run, because I would have just chilled there, being fine. And he's going to go out to his Sylveon. I'm going to be able to just Moonlight up for free. And I make here what was potentially in the long run of the game, a bad play. It's debatable how bad the play was. There were two situations, right? And depending on how I play the situations, this game could have ended very differently, for better or worse. So in this situation, I Toxic the Sylveon. Now, this was good, but this was also bad, because one of my main win cons was the fact that I could set up freely on the Sylveon. But if Sylveon dies to poison, then I'm in a bad spot. What I should have done here was just gone straight for the Psyshock. Not worried about the Toxic too much, just straight up got off as much damage as I could have. But he's going to go for a Baton Pass here as he's poisoned and go out to Mamo. And that's fine by me. I get a free Psyshock off against the Mamo here and chunk it immensely. Now on this turn, I had a bit of a 50-50 to make because Earthquake's only doing 30%. So for Danza, he's got to make a choice there. And for me, I felt that Danza's play was going for another Earthquake because if he Earthquaked again onto my Necrozma, then he probably put it in range of where the Victini or the Tornadus could take it out. And I didn't want to put my Necrozma in that range just yet. What I would have rather done is, because I figured he was going to go for like one last hurrah of Earthquake, I actually predict that and go hard out to my Talonflame. And I'm now in a strong position where he basically has to sack something to Brave Bird, and he chooses to sack the Rotom, and I am 100% fine with that. Now here, I make a little bit of a misplay on this turn. What I should have done on this turn is I had no reason to stay in a Brave Bird here. I kind of had like tunnel vision at this point in the game, and it was really bad because this almost cost me the game. What I should have done on this turn is gone for U-Turn my Talonflame, because U-Turn plus the poison damage 100% put Sylveon in range of Brave Bird. I could have gone out to my Ferrothorn really safely and then just got up my rocks again, and that would have basically sealed the deal at that point. But I make a really bad play here. Oh no, I did go for U-Turn. I'm a goat. I thought that was the turn where I do Brave Bird on a turn, and I thought that was the turn. That's why I was a bit confused. I was very tempted to stay in that turn with my Ferrothorn, but Blue Flare would have knocked me out from that range. He does go into Ariados, and I do get a crit here with Crunch. Now, this crit doesn't really matter in the course of the game. The reason for that is because, although Crunch wouldn't have been a 2-hit KO because I'm a very fat Hydreigon, the damage was all I really needed, because you'll kind of see what I mean in the long run. But now I'm kind of forcing him to go for a play. He actually doubles back into Sylveon, so this is the turn where I should have clicked U-Turn again. From this range, Sylveon can actually live a Brave Bird, and what I should have also done, which would have been a much better play, was I should have clicked Roost, because I have Roost in this Talonflame. If I clicked Roost, I could have lived the Hidden Power Rock, and Sylveon would have taken the poison damage it needed to die to the Brave Bird next turn. So, big misplay on my part. I definitely shouldn't have done this, because I just lost my Talonflame for literally no reason. And when it could OHKO everything on my opponent's team, that was really silly on my part. And then I make an even worse play here by going for Rock Polish, because what I forgot was Sylveon can still just click higher before dead. Fortunate, he goes into Victini. Now you might be wondering, Verd, Victini came in. Even if it's Scarf, it doesn't matter. Why would you swap out? I had a feeling that he was running Chardyberry in this situation. Chardyberry seemed incredibly likely in that scenario, and I didn't want to lose my Diancie at that point, given that I don't actually know why I didn't just sack off Diancie, because in retrospect I could have definitely played around. I didn't have to risk losing my Helios Sash either, as he just revealed a Hidden Power Steel. I should have just sacked off my Diancie, but it turns out okay. So this is why I'm saying that the crit didn't matter, because judging on the damage of the Volt Switch from here, you'll see later on, Ariados tries to come back in and dies to the rocks I'm going to get up this turn with Ferrothorn. And this doesn't then matter, I think, with what's going to happen later on, because regardless of what would have happened, I think I still had the game at that point. But regardless, I get on my rocks, he's going to Hurricane, I live that easy peasy, and I'm going to Gyro for damage, because I could have clicked Knockoff, but if he has a Z move, it's a really bad play for me in the long run, whereas Gyro Ball gets me damage, and all he's getting is 33% back, which means it takes him to 61, but then he's going back down to 36 after this turn. So, overall, really solid for me. I was contemplating clicking Knockoff this turn, but I decided instead to go hard out to my Helio. This Hurricane does not matter because, well, it kind of matters. So the Hurricane doesn't matter there because of what happens next turn. I think if the Hurricane had hit, he still would have swapped, because in Danza's mind, I'm a Scarfed Heliolisk. He thinks that. And so even if the Hurricane had hit and chipped me for like maybe what would have been 30% at best, because Helios Spadef is very good, and judging on the damage it had done to my Ferrothorn, would have done maybe 30% at best because resisted hit. And then he still would have been scared out by the fact that I could be a Scarfed Helio, and he would have made this play into Ariados. Now the only difference between what would have happened here without the crit is that I would have clicked Volt Switch on this turn and swapped out. So then it would have been the situation of, what do I go into if I Volt Switched? And realistically, what I probably would have done on that turn is most likely going out to my Necrozma, because if Victini came in, I could Moonlight on it. If Mamoswine came in, I could have knocked it out with Psyshock, and if Tornadus came in, I also could have Moonlighted on that too. So it would have put a lot of pressure on his team, I wouldn't have been able to live any hit, and I would have been fine in the same spot. So those 2 turns of hacks, the Hurricane Miss and the Crunch Crit, did not affect this game at all. It was still firmly in my control, and the thing is now, he's seen Voltage from Helio, and like I said, he is under the assumption that I'm Scarf, but I'm not. I'm Sash, so I knock this Mamo straight out, and because of that, he's now forced into his Teeny, but we know that it's not Scarfed. It is Chardyberry, so I can just go straight for that Volt Switch out to my Ferrothorn to sack it. He's going to Glaciate to knock me out. Psych doesn't actually knock me out, which is a sick meme. Going to Glaciate twice to ensure that I die. Now I'm going to go out to my Hydreigon, and because I am Scarfed and he is not. Now the thing is, you might be thinking, but Verd, like, was that a risk? Not really, because like, if he was a Scarf Victini, when my Heliolisk went for Volt Switch, he would have gone first. So I knew I outsped with Hydreigon. I can go for Crunch there. He's going to go into his Torn, and even with 0 attack investment, Hydra is strong enough to knock out this Tornadus, and we are going to pick up a 4-0 victory. Now, obviously there are going to be some people in the chat being like, oh, well, you know, if you didn't crit him with the Hydreigon, then Ariados, you know, could have put in work. It was an Assault Vest Ariados, designed to counter my Gengar, which wasn't even on the field, which means all it was there for was that Volt Switch sack against the Helio, which, if that had happened, what I could have done on that turn was potentially even just gone out to my Diancie. And the reason I would have gone out to Diancie was because that would have forced out his Tornadus or his Victini. Now, Victini from that range, it was a roll to live Diamond Storm, even if it was Chardyberry at that stage. And if you went out to Mamo to try and Ice Shard me, that was fine. Helio could just come in and pick up a kill. And everything, like, maybe it would have lowered the differential by a point, if that. But other than that, those 2 turns didn't matter at all. In fairness, I honestly really threw near the late game there. I had no reason to sack off my Talon. I should have waited until I 100% knew I could knock out the Sylveon, or just played it safe and U-turned back out to my Ferrothorn, since it was putting so much pressure on his team, and I could just start dropping knockoffs like it was no tomorrow, or got up my rocks on that turn, which would have meant that the Ariados would have died regardless of switching into Hydreigon or not. So that was my fault. I misplayed there, but I'm very happy with how the rest of the team played. Put in a ton of work, and halfway through the season now, guys, we have gone from being 0-2 and -7 to being 3-2 and +6. So completely turned this season around, and now we are firming for playoffs. It's looking very, very strong for us. If we continue this kind of form, I think 6 wins are around that mark. Should almost be enough to secure playoffs. I want a gun though for 8-2. To get 8-2, I'm gonna have to win every single one of my games from here on out, but I'm feeling very confident with this team. Next week we have Trev and the Houston Toxapex. We played him in the PPL, but both of our teams are pretty dicey there. This is a much more even matchup, and he has recently done some transactions to basically try and counter some mons that had really good potency against his team. So definitely going to be a tough challenge for sure, but very much looking forward to it. Trev is a fantastic competitor, and honestly, I'm just gearing for the challenge more than anything else. I just want to, you know, prove myself and keep this going. I'm in really good form right now. Like my last 3 games, I've gone 3-0 +13, so really feeling it. And the team itself is gelling together. Now that I've got Helio and Talonflame on the team, they're just really become massive assets for how I play. And I do have one more transaction that I can make, and I will be making that transaction after my game against Trev, which I'm very excited for. But yeah, we pick up the W here against Danza, which I'm very happy for. Shout out to Danza. I'm going to link his channel and everything. He's also part of the Token Minorities. Fantastic guy. Really good with the drama alerts. Go check those out. Or whatever he calls them, TTM drama, whatever it is. But he is a great guy and a fantastic battler, and he's going to keep having a good season despite the setback that he had this week. But yeah, we move on, and we are currently sitting really solidly in our conference, really solidly in the entire league right now. I think we're in the top 4 or 5 for the entire league record-wise. So just got to keep this rolling. Really keen to see what happens next week. If we can beat Trev and put ourselves at 4-2, that puts us in a phenomenal position heading into the last 4 weeks. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Would love to see some support on the channel. I think we're almost at 250 subs. I have no idea, but yeah, got this stuff coming up and got some more PPL content coming your way soon. But thank you guys for watching. My name is Averd. I'm out this bitch.
Well, I'm not a crook.